Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here today for this next session where we are going to explore and dive into the intersection between travel and retail. Today's session, as just mentioned, is specifically titled The Retail Revolution Beyond Shopping. But what does this really mean, and what are we going to Today, what we see is that shopping and the experience that comes with shopping, something that I'm sure we are all very familiar with, this is influencing destination choice more than at any time in the past. In fact, shopping is now the primary motivator for travel in many cases. As it was just mentioned, 1 in every 5 travelers now count shopping as the #1 reason that they travel. So what that has led to is expectations that we will see retail tourism, the industry of retail tourism, grow to be worth almost $600 billion in value in just the next 8 years. But as the world evolves, and so with it, retail tourism is changed by technology, innovation, policies, consumer behaviors. How can destinations and brands ensure they meet the rise of travel-driven retail and deliver unforgettable experiences? And that is the question that we are here to answer today. So with that being said, let me introduce our esteemed panel of experts on this topic here. To my left, Desiree Bollier, Chair and Global Chief Merchant Officer for Value Retail Management. To her left, Sir Ben Elliot, co-founder of Quintessentially, and finally, on his left, Pierre Cocchini, Chief Executive Officer of La Rinascente. So thanks so much for being here today. We're all sitting here in Riyadh. You each come from different corners of the world and also different corners of the retail tourism industry. Desiree, I want to start with you because as I mentioned in the opening here, retail is no longer just about shopping. It's about experience. And Value Retail operates a dozen retail destinations in some of the most traveled places in the world: the US, the UK, France, China. This is not an extensive list, there are more. And these locations have managed to repeatedly grow annual sales. So clearly you are doing something right. So I want to ask you, as more people seek out retail as an experience, how can destinations ensure they are growing at scale and doing this in such a way that it still allows each and every guest to feel special in this experience?
Okay, it's a big question. I will try to really answer it in a succinct way. I think if you forget about shopping for a minute and you think about the guest, and every single moment when we are building the villages or really thinking about the year, my question is always about how do you want them to feel? We are in the feeling experience, we're not in the shopping experience. The shopping will come naturally no matter what. So that guest has to really feel an emotional connection, a sense of belonging to the place. And so the placemaking becomes important, the curation of the brands become crucial, the services all around the guest experience become the most important goal for the hospitality team. And so you build the various different pieces to get the 50 million guests that we receive every year from around the world to feel welcome one at a time, and not really just they're here because we want them to spend their money with us. We want them to go home and feel this is a place they would recommend to their best friends and come back, right?
Definitely. So how exactly do you go about doing that?
Right. So, couple of things. Part of our ethos is to teach our colleagues customer service. Today, the analogy would be black and white. Hospitality and unreasonable hospitality is color. So you move emotionally from just ticking a box of just customer service. And that was a quote that I took from Will Gadara. He happens to be one of our consultants. He wrote an amazing book called Unreasonable Hospitality. And what is unreasonable hospitality is to surprise and delight the guest at every corner. And he happened to win with 11 Madison, the best restaurant in the world. So he would teach his team to say, forget about customer service. That's black and white. That's the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Unreasonable hospitality is really the color and the feel you give to the customer. So that was one bit. And the second one is to adopt AI. I love AI. And for us, AI has been an experimentation that we launched in China. We call AI Henry. Henry is our digital butler.
Okay.
And that butler, his sole job is to deliver a frictionless experience to you, but to millions of others at the same time. But it's customized down to frictionless choice of you. On your app, you could absolutely schedule your valet parking, hands-free shopping, your styling room, all of it. So when you arrive to the village, physically the people are liberated from all the mundane work to be physically present to welcome you.
And yeah, this is a great point. We are going to touch on that a little bit more, so thanks for sharing your views and everything you've said, to be delighted at every twist and turn. I think we all in this room probably feel the power of that.
Yeah.
Pierre, you come to this with a very unique approach to your business. And what I mean by that is that La Rinascente is highly focused on giving tourists a shopping experience that is deeply linked to the city and its history. Now, tell us how you specifically connect retail to tourism and what exactly your recipe for success is for creating these authentic experiences that keep people coming back.
Thank you. Yes, our company probably has a different angle in terms of tourism. First of all, a couple of numbers. We are 1 billion euros company per year, and 35% of this turnover is generated by the tourists from different nations in the different parts of the world. So we are very attentive to this part of the business. We have 4 or 5 concepts in order to create our business. First of all, our locations are in city center. Historical building, pedestrian area is possible. So we are avoiding peripheric area is our initial choice. Because of this, the department store, we are very attentive to the role, social role also of the department store in a city. If you think to a department store, is there when you born, is there when you are living, and is there also probably where you died. So is a landmark, is a point of reference of the city, both for domestic and tourist people. So this is quite important. So we use the sentence with the city, for the city, in the city. That means that we are part of the city in terms of architectural point of view, use of the materials, shape, and so on, in order to create stores that are really part of the city. Another thing is, of course, one of our important things is to be house of brands. So we are a curator of brands, but we are trying to manage this brand respecting their DNA, avoiding multi-brand area in the store that is very old mood to operate, and it is quite important. Another important thing is that we have not a chain of store, but a collection of stores. That means that every single 9 stores in Italy are different according to the city that they are hosted. So different also in terms of different floor in the same stores. We create a different situation in terms of colors, materials, shaping, and furniture in order to avoid the boring situation that we have in some of these stores. Another important thing is that things that we have put in place around 5 years ago. We consider our stores like a medium, so like a sort of editor, like a newspaper. We create the title, we create the different pages, but at the end, the journalists are the brand that can create event, launches, entertainment, VIP appearance, whatever they want. And we have to maintain this like an editor at the end, no? Like an editor, and with the good journalist writing for our newspaper. Finally, the new approach is also to be a media company. Consider our flagship, our store, like a medium. So the brand can exploit this possibility by using the facade, by using the arcade, by using the windows, by using the escalators, the door entrance, and all the also the spaces that we create that change every single month in order to create event or full takeover, probably ending with a beautiful party in the terrace. So this is the ingredients and the recipe in order to create something good for both for the domestic and also for the tourist. Paradoxically, we have an approach very Italian, but is for this reason that probably we are appreciated also by the tourist.
And everything that you're saying really leads me to the word discovery, right? It sounds like just as a journalist provides the information, right? You're allowing that platform for people to come in and to discover a new brand, a new experience. So Ben, I want to build on this with you here, because as Pierre is clearly speaking about discovery, with that comes feeling, emotion, and meaning. And that's something that we're all looking for as travelers, right? And just in day-to-day life as well. Quintessentially is a company that looks to offer all of this to travelers, to families, to all of your clients through bespoke services. In a time where travelers are increasingly seeking more meaning and also increasingly looking for things that are maybe off the beaten path, and they're not just after the merchandise, how do you think retailers and destinations both can ensure they evolve into really being places to feel versus just a place to buy?
It's a good question. We have the privilege of looking after people in the same way my fellow panelists do from around the world. We have 36 locations, and our job 24 hours a day is to be proactive in helping them. And post-COVID, there has been a huge boom in experiential travel, and you cannot divorce that from retail. As you said at the beginning, 1 in 5 people choose retail as the reason why they actually go and travel somewhere. If you're not authentic, you talk about emotion and feeling, if you're not authentic, you're not centered at the very heart of a community, then the 35% of customers that you're talking about that are coming into a place will feel that in the same way we do. Yeah. And so all the best retailers cement themselves with good foundations in that community. So this isn't a kind of new phenomenon, but look at the partnerships that the bigger brands that are trying to be individual and local have locally. I was literally yesterday, I had the privilege of sitting on the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, which has just got this Cartier show. And you walk 400 yards up or 400 meters up the road at Harrods, you know, they're celebrating in that way. I think Schiaparelli are doing exactly the same thing. But one of the things you said and you led, and Desiree talked about properly, we all, particularly with this avalanche, this tsunami of technology that is bombarding us, crave, and whilst, and I'm sure we'll get to it, artificial intelligence can assist the process, the organization, the experience, but we're all in dire need of human connection.
Yeah.
And all of us, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a friend of Saudi Arabia, when you arrive in this country, by Jove, they're warm and polite and nice. That experience, you talked about people talking to other people, needs to be shared in every retail experience. We all share that. You talked about telling your friend, and that increases your business. But I think imperative to that is the fact that if you have that experience, you will keep on coming back. And we were talking before, Desiree was proudly talking about her daughter's wedding 2 weeks ago at somewhere in the Cotswolds in England. And if you ever go, the Cotswolds is all the rage at the moment. I think J.D. Vance holiday they had this summer. There's a place called Dalesford, which is it's an organic retailer basically, but it has all sorts of lifestyle. The experience you get there is that every single person will go the extra mile to make you feel magnificent. And if you do that, you will succeed, prosper, and win.
So really, it's blending the human experience with the digital. This is challenging, and this brings me to what I wanted to speak about next, which is really artificial intelligence, more deeply, the development of new technologies, the need to innovate. I mean, it's right at our doorstep, knocking, banging, if you will, right? There's no way to avoid this. Ben, I want to follow up immediately and throw you another question on this topic, because as we prepared for this panel, we were talking about AI, but also you said that we need to perhaps tap into the needs of the younger population a bit more, a population that's more tech savvy, has different tastes, perhaps travels more. Can you speak to that a little bit more and how you see technology playing into that, and how retailers and brands can continue to maximize their economic impact while considering all of these things which are challenging, but an opportunity?
Yeah, of course, it's damn challenging. And the good bit of the amount of information we all receive is that we receive that information, but it means that choices sometimes are more difficult. But if you're talking about a younger demographic, I was talking to friends of mine here in Saudi Arabia who are, organize amongst their peer group shopping trips to Europe, to Italy and the UK. The phenomenon they're talking about in the UK at the moment, which has been fueled explicitly by Snapchat, is if you shop in London, it's dangerous. And the idea that you might not be able to wear this watch or carry this handbag or wear this piece of jewelry, that's where, and some of that is anecdotal. It is not physically happening in quite the same way. So we're all getting this bombardment. But when you're talking about what younger people, and I'd be interested to know, Christine, how you define younger. Of course, very, very price sensitive, and particularly in the Middle East, if you look at the stuff in Dubai, it is transaction. It's price driven, a lot of it. But in terms of the values of shopping with certain brands, I think it means, or the values that those brands have, they want that to mirror what they themselves believe. And so I think it is to return, and particularly with the avalanche of technology, to be authentic, to be real, increasingly important.
And Desiree, you're nodding your head here, so
Yeah, no,
perfect.
authenticity.
Please weigh in. I mean, how do you balance all of this?
Well, actually, the younger generation is extremely savvy. Yeah? They research a lot more the real thing. They really want authenticity. You can no longer, it's the age of transparency. Yeah? And that transparency is absolutely crucial. Your DNA, what you represent, the authenticity, your values are really going to be part of their decision making. Is this place really real? Does it believe in the same value of myself? And if so, they deserve for me to go there. That's really very binary, actually. There is, it's the age of transparency, and it's absolutely living your values that is going to really make you live, survive, and thrive in the long run. So it's really hard because we're seeing it. There are places, brands that really are thinking very short-term investor return. Yeah, and that pressure sometimes make you take shortcuts, and those shortcuts could be extremely costly. In the age of transparency, you have to balance the brand equity, your authenticity, and your values system with what the guest is expecting from you.
Sounds like walking something of a tightrope. Pierre, I want to kind of tie this all together a little bit, because one of the things La Rinascente aims for is for shoppers to come away from your locations having bought something they never thought that they were going to buy. Basically, you have to have that. How does the company continue to achieve this in a time when technology is disrupting so much, and you have to continue to evolve, be authentic, right? All of these things we're talking about.
Yes, good question. First of all, I think for every generation, not only for the younger, it's important the brand mix that you propose and the authenticity. I agree totally with my colleague here. There are some dangerous words now, in my opinion, because luxury became cool. No, not luxury. Luxury is a word that a lot of brands luxury are avoiding to say. They prefer cool, they prefer trend that is different. Another important things, I think, of course, the authenticity and also the capacity to propose, to show in our brand mix also the emerging brand, not only the established brand. For example, this is a trend that is clearly visible in the beauty category. There are, of course, a lot of established brands. Also, the luxury brands are going in deep in this category. But in the same time, there is a lot of emerging brands from every part of the world, from South Korea, from Italy, from US, from China, that are creating a quite different market in comparison to the past. And for example, in our company, we must be able to intercept this new trend that is quite important. Another important things related to the younger generation, but not only. At my age, when I was young, 2-3 events per year was okay, were okay. Today you have to create a lot of events, continuously propose something touchable, not only untouchable, not only online, and that's it. It's important, from the point of view of technology, of course, is a tool, is an opportunity, so we have to mix the physical brick and mortar experience with the online or on-demand experience that are totally interconnected today. So there is not only online shop or brick and mortar shop. For us, it's interconnected. But in any case, to maintain this approach, is important to have the good brand, the good journalist, the good title, so the good newspaper, but also the good approach in terms of managing these things with a lot of events, a lot of things. And not only insist on the established brand, but also have the curiosity to go beyond and above this.
Amazing. Well, as we start to wrap up here, we've got about 10 minutes or so. I want to do something a bit fun. I'm going to throw a question to the audience here, a poll question. We're going to put this up on the screen, and if you're in the audience, you can answer this by scanning the QR code and inputting your answers. Now, before we read your answer, I'm going to ask each of you this question and ask you to weigh in maybe 2 minutes or less. So, the question: what will define retail's next big shift? AI-driven personalization, sustainable retail, immersive experiences, or social commerce. Now, you do not have to have the same answers. You can have the same answers. It is entirely up to you, but let's just go in order here. Desiree, what is your response to this, and why do you feel that way?
I don't think it's one excludes the other. I think AI-driven personalization is happening right now. Agentic, personal stylist is happening as we speak. Sustainable retail, I don't think we have a choice. There is no planet B. We better take care of our planet. So somehow, somewhere, we need to have a sustainable retail system. Immersive experience is a must today. I think in the digital age, being interactive and immersive is what is expected, be it bucolic or digital, or both. Having an immersive experience is really critical. And social commerce, I'm not really sure about that. What does it mean? Giving back?
Perhaps. I suppose it can be as you interpret it. If I asked you to really rank it, though, and drill down, you're on the spot.
AI-driven personalization.
Okay, that's the answer we'll go with.
Yeah.
Ben, what's your view?
Gutturally, I think that if you don't have an immersive experience, all of the other choices, if you're not driving somebody in and making them have a great time, and as you talked about at the beginning, building some emotional connection, the rest of those don't build that emotional connection. So I'm not going to argue with one of the great retailers on our planet. I think you have to go all in immersive experiences, and the others will follow. Personally, but
But you're right.
I bow down.
Okay, so
I
just
bow
quickly
down to
then,
you.
Ben, if you're all in on immersive experience, very quickly, name one for me in Saudi that has blown you away, or something you've done recently that you want to recommend to our
Look,
fine
I
crowd
think,
here.
and I'm not just saying this because we're sitting in downtown Riyadh today. I think Diriyah might be, certainly in the Middle East that I've experienced, the physical manifestation of a lot of those 4 points.
Yeah.
You have extraordinary, it's immersive whenever I've been there, and that feeds amazing kind of restaurant opportunities and those things. That's a place that you, your wife, your family, whatever it is, you want to spend time there. And also for every person that I know who's coming to Saudi Arabia, I straight from the airport is go to Diriyah, and that is my experience over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
All right, Pierre, your turn. What?
I think of course, all the 4 are very important, but I think at the end, artificial intelligence, sustainable retail, and social commerce today are ticket minimum. We are obliged to have the 3. The immersive experience, we are not obliged, but we are forced to make. So I choose immersive experience because it's something different to create. Because everybody in the world talk about experience, entertainment. Everybody here and talk about these things. But at the end, we have to see who is able to propose the good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go and listen to, or rather we see what the audience had to say, I want to ask you something, Desiree, on sustainable retail, because we didn't quite get to this. And value retailing locations are LEED excellent in many of the locations. So sustainability really is something at the front of your agenda. You talked about it being in the company's DNA. How important is the sustainability element here? And it often comes at a cost. Is that a necessary cost at this point?
It is. It is in the long term, right? It is not an investment you could do today and really think, oh, I'm going to collect the return on investment tomorrow. This is really more of a generational thing. And actually, it comes at a certain cost, but the cost is marginal comparing to the bigger picture. And and there are sometimes very small decisions shutting the electricity at night, that really actually could tip the balance to really be socially responsible. So it's, to me, it's really part of our ethos, and we do it wherever we go.
Pierre, do you want to add anything on this? Ben?
Yes, we don't use the word sustainable.
Okay.
We use other words. For example, house of values is the same,
Yes.
but is another angle.
That's
I avoid to make the list of the things related to the sustainability because, again, is a ticket minimum today. But much more important for our company also to be sustainable versus the employees, for example, in order to have a good treatment according to the law and, if possible, much more better than the law in terms of remuneration, I mean. And also another peculiarity of our company that we have no consumption of land because we always have renovated the existing building that was in ruins at the end. So it's another angle of this. But I think also in this case, like luxury, sustainable is probably a word that will change rapidly
Yes.
in another meaning, in another more general approach, not only related to the lighting, to the materials and to the things.
Yes, it's
If you want to add anything, Ben, you got 20 seconds.
I'm not going to.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and pull up the answer from the audience and see here where the majority lies. Okay, so Desiree, seems like everyone's with you for the most part. About half of the room. That's actually really interesting and just goes to show that artificial intelligence really is at the front of the pack at the moment in terms of what needs to be important. I want to thank all of you for your time, for sharing all of your insights. It's been so wonderful to have this conversation with you today. I mean, a lot of words seem to have come through from this session for me. We have experience, discovery, authenticity, transparency. I really love that, and I hope that's something that our audience takes away today, really, is this idea of applying technology to the retail tourism industry in such a way that it's also transparent and speaks to those that it is serving. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us today, and have a great rest of your day at TOURISE.